Silver, you bring me up when I'm down. And maybe you're gonna make my money sound. You came to me when I was living the dollar dream. You made me see that things were not quite just as they seem. I looked for value everywhere and you were the one. I made a purchase and I saw that stacking is fun. Silver, you bring me up when I'm down, up when I'm down. And silver, you're gonna change my life around, change my life around. Good morning, fellow billionaires. It's still 5150 with your morning update for Tuesday, September 29th, 2020. That was Lionel Richie and the Commodores and the song Lady, which I adapted for our purposes here in the Stackers Chill Out Lounge. And to all the ladies out there, no disrespect was meant by changing the words. We already know how you change our lives, and you are good with us. All right. So on display with us today, we have bunch of coins, every denomination I could scrounge up from the U.S. Mint, because I wanted to talk about some of the things that are going to be happening in 2021 with their lineup. But before I do that, I might have to talk about the markets a little bit. Now, Silver Dragons did an excellent expose on this yesterday, an outstanding job. He covered this yesterday. But it looks like I'm going to do my little bit on it because there's some things that need to be addressed about the possible motivations of the U.S. Mint coming in 2021. But yeah, so yesterday with the markets, man, I don't know, I panicked a little bit and I was sitting there and I was looking and I'm going, man, let's go ahead and close out the month, close out the quarter, go into the fourth quarter with everything, in a downward trend. That way we could stack more metal and they could go ahead, meaning the bankers, commercial bankers, can get out of their positions, whatever they're manipulating. Doesn't matter if it's metals or bonds or what have you. Go ahead and get out of their positions and then just stay away after that's over. But keep the system intact by, manipulating things down and helping us get more metal in the process. And it looked like yesterday they were losing their grip on it. And I'm going, man, that is not good. That is not good. I thought, they were going to end up cracking things up before we had a chance to get out of this quarter. But it looks like they've kind of put a floor under everything. You noticed yesterday metals tried to take off. And this is something that's not good for them because they need to get out of their positions, especially when it comes to the derivatives and precious metals, the COMEX contracts. They need to get out of their positions as cheaply as they can because otherwise, if they get hit too hard, they'll end up crashing. They'll trigger derivatives and they'll start to crash the system. So we don't want that. I mean, as much as I don't like them, the one time I wanted them to do what I needed them to do, they seemed like they couldn't do it. And that was to keep metals prices down, keep everything under wraps. But we had a lot of inflation that snuck in yesterday. Like I told you, something inflationary this way comes. That happened in the market yesterday with equities and everything. I think yesterday the Dow put on about 1.5%, and across the board, you had, and the Nasdaq was close to 2%. So that does not bode well going into the end of the quarter. Now it might help for their quarterly numbers coming out in October for the third quarter, but I mean, as far as them getting out of some of their short positions, that is not good at all. But yeah, so I'm going to yak about these markets quite a bit. I mean, I am going to talk about the coinage too, but I'm going to get a little bit off of my chest, and then we'll go ahead and get to the coins. All right. So look, the President's Working Group on Capital Markets yesterday, they tried their darndest to keep gold and silver out of the upward momentum yesterday early in the morning, and it almost backfired on them. Because when you do that, you look at the euro, you look at the dollar. Dollar was down, euro was up. That meant that positive energy was coming in for metals, but they were trying to do this thing. I don't understand to where they will try to lift cryptos and stocks, but keep bonds and metals down. And I think that is a recipe for disaster. All right, a recipe for disaster. Now, if I didn't know any better, I would think that key members of the commercial banking world are listening to this program every day and are actively trying to make me look as inept as possible. Probably didn't take too much. But, I never asked these guys for much of anything. But, I mean, just not being so blatant about how to manipulate the markets. But I did want them to try to keep a lid on this thing for at least another week. As I know deflation helps us out as stackers. And, I was trying to get used to it again. I was thinking about settling in and buying some more metal and, and getting back into the stacker mode and stuff. But yeah, it looks like they're starting to loosen their grip on the markets and coming into the last 2 days. That could be the worst possible time to do it. Let's hope. Let's honestly. I'm about to say something you probably never hear Silver 5150 say. The most bullish, crazy man on silver. All right. I hope that they can keep the metals prices in check just for a couple more days until they get out of their positions and not crash their own institutions, and then we can go into the fourth quarter and they can drift off into the sunset. All right. But let's go ahead and take a look and see what the markets are doing right now. And maybe from there, we can get a better direction as to what we think is going to happen here. The next couple of days are so critical. They really are. So I hope you guys are strapped in so you can hang on and kind of enjoy it, or maybe even stack it, depending on what happens. So right now, stock futures are starting to head back into the green. They finished, deep green yesterday. And so I think right now Dow is at the flat line along with the S&P 500 and NASDAQ and the Russell 2000 small caps. And in fact, I just watched the Dow break into the green, and it's starting to move upwards, which means the dollar index is headed down. The dollar index right now is about to let go of that 94 handle, about to head into a 93, down some 22 basis points to 94.07. All right, crude oil's doing pretty good. It's over the 40 flat line at 40.34, and it's at nominal right now. And then our favorites, of course, gold and silver. Gold and silver are starting to thunder back, and this is exactly what I was concerned about, because yesterday gold put on quite a bit of gains. I think it tracked on just over 1%, and then of course silver it put on 2.6% yesterday. And like I said, this month is not up. Those contracts are still out there, and I don't think these commercial banks were able to make all those deliveries, for the customers wanting physical silver. And so it's a recipe for disaster if they can't get this thing to cool off, or at least keep the metals quiet until November 1st, which is on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. So we got a couple more days. It's going to be a little shaky, where we actually don't want metals prices to rise. That'd be great. But what we really want is for metal prices to decrease. So like I said, these guys can get out of their positions and not suffer any trouble to their institutions until later. After the 1st of November, they can burn to the ground for all I care. But right now, they need to get this thing under wraps. So gold right now is up over 0.5% at 1893. I'm thinking we're going to break through that 1900 handle today. $11 up right now. Gold is $11 up right now and climbing. Silver right now is at $24, is above the $24 handle at 24.03, up some 43 cents currently, or 1.81%. It's a little shaky right now. It's giving me goosebumps. You guys, if you follow the markets and stuff and you look at the charts and whatnot, I'm not a chart reader. I'm a numbers reader, and I can tell you the numbers are just scrambled really bad. We don't have free markets. I think in the words of Chris Powell from the Gold Antitrust Action Committee, he says, we don't have markets. All we have is interventions. And man, the Federal Reserve and the President's Working Group on Capital Markets are intervening their butts off on everything that's going on right now. And I think they're making a mess of things. We'll see as the day progresses. If metals take off and try to attempt something like a moonshot today, I can't tell you what's going to happen. I can't tell you what's going to happen. You've got all this stuff that's going to be beginning on Thursday, the first of the month going into the fourth quarter. And that includes quarterly numbers from the third quarter that a lot of these banking institutions, commercial banks, and the big, corporations and companies too, have to report, to see how they did. If they don't meet expectations going into this fourth quarter, for the third quarter, and we have all of this market mayhem at the same time, it is a Wile E. Coyote moment, man. We're talking like straight up, nitroglycerin truck off the cliff and mushroom cloud and all that good stuff. So we don't want that. We don't want that. I'm kind of cracking up right now because I'm watching the dollar. It's falling off of its stool like a drunken wino. And look, it's still strong. It's still good currency. But if it starts to crash seriously it starts to head down, into the 80s and into the 70s, and we get to that 69 handle, which is like, I think, a big magical level. We get below, 69 basis points on the dollar heading into 67. Well, my gosh, man, that's going to be pretty much Armageddon for the dollar. And the only currencies that'll be able to compete with the dollar at that point, well, will have to step up, will be gold and silver. They will have to step up because there's no other currency that can fill that bill. Now, you can argue that there'll be countries out there like China and, India and stuff that may try to do some kind of partially backed or, metals currency or maybe even like a crypto or something like that. But it's still not going to supplant the dollar. It's not going to be enough to supplant the dollar to get people to move away from it necessarily and come over to what they're doing. So it will have to be the asset that we know is money, that we know is insurance, that we know is starting to turn into an investment. Looking at the markets right now, gold's up now $11, and climbing. And so, yeah, that's going to be the movement. That's going to be the momentum that a lot of people are chasing and stuff. All right, so I think we beat that to death. We're going to continue to watch the markets and see how things go. U.S. Stock futures right now, they're continuing to climb. Coming up on 0.1%. We'll see if they begin to make progress throughout the day. I think they're going to, because right now the euro is almost approaching a 117 handle, and that's going to really, really bode well for dollar-denominated assets, which are the ones we love, and these are precious metals. And some of you love stocks, and I have nothing against stocks. I'm just not in on stocks. I'm all in on metals. All right, so to our topic today. We're going to talk about the efforts that the U.S. Mint is going to be making in 2021. And as you can see here, I have a bunch of different offerings, of course, from the U.S. Mint. And these are the base metal offerings, of course. You have your quarters, right? And, I have different, variations of it. Some of these are older. How did they get over there? Some of these are older, of course, in I think from like 1980 or something like that. And they have the old backing on it with the eagle on it. You guys are familiar with the with the pandemic bat, and that they also have that in the ATB. But this right here I found very interesting. This is a quarter from 1980, and to show you just like the difference between precious metal and base metal. Precious, base. This base metal quarter here, which I think is like zinc and nickel, maybe some copper. Somebody correct me on it if you know the actual makeup of it is, but that's quite a bit of rust on there. I could flip it over, but it's gonna be just as rusty. And so that this goes to show you what we're dealing with when it comes to this kind of coinage, this kind of change and stuff. And it's the reason that is because, first of all, silver is really too valuable to be money. They'll never tell you that, but it really is. But they've made it into money, so we're going to stack it. However, this stuff here, the base metal stuff, is a lot more durable. So we use it, in our circulation to be used as currency, and it holds up very well. Even like these mostly zinc and some copper pennies. So anyway, let me see here. I had a couple questions for you guys, and basically this is going to be an effort to figure out what's going on. I think there's a puzzle here, and I'm going to cast some questions, and I really, really look forward to you guys just weighing in on this. I'm honestly looking for insight on what I think is just a bag of weirdness when it comes to what the U.S. Mint's doing, what the U.S. Mint or the Treasury is calling for, and some of the new technologies out there. So just bear with me. All right. So, oh yeah, there's a nickel there. I think it's made mostly of zinc. Anyway, so even though I kind of hang out in the conspiracy theory swamps, I hope you guys can pull me out, with some of the answers that I hope to get today in the comments. Really looking forward to your comments below. So, you see, I think this is all part of some big puzzle. I really do. I think it's all part of some big puzzle. We know that the U.S. Treasury called for a return of coinage. There was a shortage of coinage. They wanted to get the coinage back in circulation, or probably back to the Treasury for whatever reason. All right, so there's a coin shortage. But at the same time now, they're going to start offering us in 2021 these neo variants of the old peace dollars and the Morgan dollars. And I think they're going to be, bullion grade silver. They're not going to be like the 734 or the 925, or I don't think there's ever even sterling, but like the earlier 0.7% plus silver grade. It's going to be bullion grade Morgans and peace dollar designs. And they're going to come out of a number of various mints, like Dallas and Philadelphia, I think. But whatever the case, why would you, first of all, declare a coin shortage out of one agency and then say you're trying to, get all that back into circulation and you want to get that moving? Then you say you're going to start minting all of these new offerings. Well, these next two offerings, which will be the Morgan and the peace dollar out of the Treasury, at the same time, but then also, beating the drums of universal basic income in the form of some kind of possible crypto or blockchain based pay system for people to get universal basic income. All right. I mean, which way are you going to go? Are you going to go electronic at this point? Are you going to stick with the paper, or do you want to move to metals? Because if you're offering more things out of the Treasury and you're, saying that there's a shortage of metal, that doesn't make any sense to me. All right. So here's my first question. And you guys just kind of chew on this and please weigh in when you're able to do that, if you want to do that. The question is, if there's a coin shortage, what sense does it make to create multiple new lines of coins next year? They're calling for base metals to be returned, yet using precious metals to create new ones. It just seems curious to me. Okay. The second question, with basic universal income programs on the horizon, possibly backed by a Fed coin or some new digital currency, could the possession of physical U.S. mint offerings like these, base metals and precious metals like these, could the possession of these things enhance access to these programs like the universal basic income? Because, I think about it, you're going to have a cryptocurrency. So those are two questions. You're going to have a cryptocurrency. I don't mean to quibble. But the powers that be, I feel the powers that be, for one, they have no they have no reason really for calling for the old coinage. I mean, I don't think they're going to get it because people are hoarding and they're going to have it. And surely they don't believe that they would get that much precious metals in return with the old coinage if they got it in to make a difference for what they're trying to do with these new coins. So why would they do it? It just makes no sense to me. So yeah, we'll see where it's going, because here's what I think. I think, offering these new coins out of the mint, there are stackers and collectors out there. There's no way in the world they're going to miss out on this. I mean, there's no way in the world they're going to miss out on these new offerings. This is the first thing out of the U.S. Mint for what, 35 years? 35 years they haven't changed the design of the eagle, which they're going to be changing the design of the eagle too. So you're going to have the new eagle, you're going to have the Morgans, and you're going to have the peace dollar designs coming out all at the same time. They're going to probably have more ATBs and all that stuff. And then, or maybe they're trying to get rid of the base metal coinage and use the metal for something else. I don't know. Here's what really, really has my hackles, or it sends up a red flag for me. If you guys have been paying attention, me and Silver Joker, we've been doing some collaborative efforts and stuff. You can find those on this channel if you want to go check those out. And one of the things we talked about was the Mint ID chip that you can get on some of these coins that are coming out from, I can't remember what group it is, but the Mint ID chip in the videos that we do, and the one that is popular right now, is one that is mounted on outside the chip. And there's another video out there showing how you can easily remove that Mint ID identifier that's supposed to help with counterfeiting. You can remove it from the coin or the bar and just, have that bar and coin be free of that system. Even though when it's mounted on there, it's very helpful for tracking that precious metals, if you're into that. I'm not into that. But, looking at the chip and looking at technology, and look, let's be honest, the federal government here, anyway, our governments, maybe governments across the globe, they're not entirely honest with us about what they're doing with money, monetary policy, what the debt is, any of that stuff. And if that's the case, what's to keep them from maybe having some chips or something installed in these new coins? They know that stackers especially are not going to want to pass these up. They're not going to want to pass these up. So what they'll probably do is, figure out a way to, maybe not next year, maybe down the road, start kind of putting those in there inside inside the coins. I know now I thought you guys were going to pull me out of conspiracy theory swamp, and I'm still here. What happened? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, man, I mean, just food for thought, So again, if there's a coin shortage, what sense does it take? What sense does it make to create multiple new lines of coins next year out of the treasury? If there's a coin shortage and they want to get coins in, whether it be base metal, nobody's going to turn into precious metal, but just the base metal ones. Maybe I'm missing something. All right. And then the second question, of course, with the possibility of basic universal income under some Fed coin program, would it behoove one to keep their base metal coins and to continue stacking precious metals because that'll give them an advantage in acquiring more of the basic universal income framework? It's a possibility. All right. So I think that's all I got for today, guys. Don't forget about our giveaways and stuff. 5,000 subscribers, 3,750 subscribers first place, 3,750 subscribers second place. Got some stickers here if you're interested. Got the email if you want to have some sent to you. I will try to do that and stuff. But until then, I just want you guys to keep an eye on the markets today. I'm watching, and it looks like things are steadily moving up. Kind of flat right now, but just watch and see how this inflationary activity creeps into the markets over the next 2 days. Very, very critical. Very, very critical. So I guess that's going to do it. Oh, let's take a quick look at some of the derivatives and liabilities that are coming our way, creating the inflation as they work their way down into the paper currency, okay, and then down into our favorite currencies, gold and silver, and possibly copper. I think tomorrow is time for another look at copper. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and do that. So tomorrow, let's get our copper hats on, guys, and discuss copper, because as silver starts to climb away, and it will do that, I think, this year, we'll be looking to maybe stack something else or maybe move into a different asset class. And I think copper is going to be that one further down the line from silver. All right. So I'm Silver 5150. All right. Telling you guys that your stack is not whack and that just 15 ounces to your name keeps you 99% ahead of the game. I want to thank you all for tuning in. All right. And I ask you to like, share, subscribe, and comment if you enjoyed this kind of content. Check us out on Instagram, okay? And strap in, guys. Strap in. We are in for the wildest market ride I think I've ever seen in my days of watching it. I really do. So just strap in and be ready. Grab your favorite beverage, and get ready to be taken on a possible moonshot, or, who knows what. So anyway, until then, keep working hard, keep stacking hard. And I mean right now, today, tomorrow, if you can get some in, because if we're going into the positive into the fourth quarter, it is not going to stop, I don't think, at that point, especially when all of this economic numbers and the malaise and stuff starts to show from the third quarter. All right? So until then, be safe, take care, and as 49's Fine says, I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.